Hello, this is Carl from SLO Sail and Canvas. We're going to talk about jib lead and clew placement on jibs. This would apply to typical monohulls and catamarans. So I have a generic drawing of a boat with our mast, our luff, leech, and foot, and our jib represented on the boat. So if you're trying to figure out a jib for your boat or figure out where jib leads should go, I recommend starting with a side-on scale drawing of your boat. Obviously, if you measure your own boat, that is best. In this case, it's just a generic. We're gonna start with a very simple concept of figuring out the center of effort of the sail. So very quickly, I have marked the midpoint of the foot, luff, and leech. If you go from the corner to the midpoint, and the opposite corner to the opposite midpoint, you will end up with all of these lines crossing in about the same spot. Okay. Must have a small error somewhere, but they're roughly crossing there. You'll see this on some drawings of sailboats with the cross and a circle denoting the center of effort of the sail. Now, this is important to understand the concept. This is the sum of all the loads in the sail would really average to this point. What we're interested in for our purposes today is where the sheet will be and where that's going to attach to the deck. And what is coincidental is the sheet lead line to mid luff crosses through the center of effort. Okay. So we'll switch to our next fancy graphic here. So if you have a boat and you have a jib track location already, but you do not have a jib for that boat, I would begin by defining your luff length. So tack point and head point, and I have that mid luff defined, okay? And what that would mean is that the clew has to land in the shaded area over this jib track for there to even be a chance of this sail working properly, okay? So even if you have a correct luff length, and let's say you have like a sail like this, okay? There is no way that this will sheet properly, okay? Likewise for a sail of geometry, this geometry, okay? You must be in this shaded area to have a chance, okay? So this would be useful if you have your boat and you're looking for a jib or trying to figure out what your jib dimensions should be. Again, you'll need to make the clew land in the shaded area there. And here, if you have a jib with known dimensions, okay, and you have your scale drawing and you go from the mid luff through the clew, this will point at the estimated sheet lead point. One of the problems with this, especially as the clew gets very close to the deck, if this distance is very close, this angle will become very sensitive to very small changes. And so you will always need adjustment of some sort. So either via a track on the deck or a multi-hull clew plate in the clew of the jib. So we're gonna take a quick look here at a Hobie getaway jib and see these various effects of lead on a real sail. Okay. So I have marked an estimated sheet lead here from the clew. See this mark here, mid-luff. So I'm going to pull on our estimated pull lined up with our estimated sheet lead. Now this happens to be a Hobie getaway jib. So it's a fairly high aspect ratio sail, about 3-to-1 aspect ratio. So when I pull on the sheet, okay, you can see how our foot and leech go tight at approximately the same time, okay? So it's a very uniform loading. Now if my lead's too far aft and I pull further aft, you'll see the foot is tight, but our leech is still loose, okay? And if I have to pull really, really tight on our foot, and I still don't have very good upper reach control. If we move our lead too far forward, you can see how my lead is pointing aft of my mid-left point. Our leech is tight, our foot is loose, okay? This is a condition that may be desirable in very, very light air, and in that case, you'd have very low sheet pressure as well. So encouraging lots of twist and foot camber. Something that I would like to point out here is that if you get in line exactly with this, a very, very small change in fore or aft movement on the order of like a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch affects this angle greatly, especially as you get closer and closer to the clew. So just a very small change affects your angle through the clew, wildly swinging your actual sheeting point on the sail. So that is why we need adjustability, and we need to plan ahead with our sail dimensions to make sure things work correctly. So that's it. Please let us know if you have questions.